15 kilometers today, I think at this time of season is more than enough.
The legs of Emil Jonsson, rhythmical, beautifully balanced. Balance a key factor in cross-country skiing. I think sometimes it's difficult to appreciate how thin the skis are and how little the contact is between the boot and the binding.
And especially when you watch the speed that we're going to pick up now, they're going to be coming into they're turning right now, but of course the left-hander coming up, they're going to be up to what, 55, 60, 65 kilometers an hour, and that's so difficult once your legs are spent to keep that awareness of movement.
Jonsson still leading, Colonia in second. We haven't ID'd Legkoff recently. He's in the middle of that group on the far side. The red bib belongs to Legkoff, and once again he's next door to Petter Northug, who is not going to let him out of his sight. And those two have got to be careful, because they have to keep half an eye on Dario Colonia, who's wearing 16, and as he's doing what he does in the Tour de Ski, sitting in second place, just trying to conserve energy for the end of this run. Who's going to go for the bonus points on lap number 4? We'll have to wait and see, but Colonia's well positioned if he wants them.
He is a good amount of blue suits. The Russians up there, the Italians are up there. Legkoff at last is getting up to his race pace, and he said today he's only going to do one tactic for me, and he says to ski fast, but he's slowly getting up to his terminal velocity.
The start of the faster downhill. Jonsson takes it wide. Colonia takes an inside line, which is slightly better conditioned snow away from the ruts. A sensible move from Colonia. Legkoff and Northug safely round. And at the back of that leading group, Chernousov of Russia just making it look very, very easy. And an alpine background certainly helps on courses like this one here. And number 44, Roland Clara. Most of the Italians are in the Carabinieri, the Italian mountain troops. And if you've ever watched them come down a mountain, that you'll realise that this here is absolutely nothing.
And Colonia, normally very good on his classic skis, but of course he had that fall in the World Championships in the 50 kilometer when he was riding up front with a 20-second advantage with Olsen, and it cost him so much. One little lapse in concentration, and it cost him maybe the medal.
Did it cost him the gold medal?
Difficult. He looked like he was fading at that point in the race. His legs were spent, but I think it probably did. If he'd stayed with Olsen from that point on, who knows? He did take the silver in the end.
But a man of his ability doesn't fall unless he's tired.
It was a tight, those corners were horrific. You had a huge pace coming into them, and you just get your entry into that bend wrong and you're blown out, and that's what happened to him.
But that's part of the game. Take nothing away from Olsen. It was a majestic performance and a very brave one at that, and I think everyone delighted to see him win, having led from what, 10 Ks all the way through to 50.
That's a legendary 50 kilometer, and that will live in everyone's memory as one of the greatest. And today I think I was thinking about all the best races of the season. I think this one is going to be, it's brewing up. I know we're over halfway now, but as this opens up for the next bonus sprints, it's going to turn the personality of this race.
Emil Jonsson still leading after 9.9. 3 laps completed, 2 to go, and it will get tactical on this 4th lap, because there are bonus seconds available again. There are seconds for the BMW trophy as well. And let's have a look. Jonsson, Colonia, Villingshanen up there in the top 3. Sundby is 5 for Norway. Legkoff in 9th. Northug just a couple of meters behind in 11th, ahead of Shankar and Shaparov, and Goldberg of Norway as well. Hoffman's there for USA. Toby Angera still going well despite his advancing years. Angera's had a good season.
He has, and of course 3rd place in the classic mass start over in Canmore.
Jonsson looking more determined on a distance race than we've seen him for a long, long time. He's a popular figure in Sweden, and that's because he's a very, very exciting sprinter.
And so good for him. He didn't win the victory last year as the best sprinter in the world. It was his teammate, but to take it again this year, and then prior to that, he won the 2 previous seasons in the sprint race, an out-and-out sprinter, and so good to see him coping with the distance today.
Yeah, the Swedes have got a very good record in sprinting. Not surprisingly, trying to match their neighbours with, if we go back to Lind and of course Jonsson and Pedersen of late, and I guess their successful run and run, they'll be amongst the favourites for the Olympic title next year.
I think the biggest surprise was, remember when Hellner, it was always going to be Petter Northug's race at the World Championships in Oslo, the sprint race, Hellner, and they called it the Hellner Hill after the final climb where Hellner destroyed Petter Northug and took the title. Northug said he'd have him back, and of course he did in the team sprint.
Looking good, they say, to Emil Jonsson, and he's certainly doing a very, very good job. Shortly to be joined by Danny Rickardson of Sweden, wearing 28. At the back of the group, starting to fall away. That's Besmetsnik wearing 42, and 44, Roland Clara, who we saw before, 146 behind in the mini tour at the moment for Roland Clara, and he needs to get latched onto the back of this leading group if he wants to feature. Sundby always looks so relaxed. I thought Sundby was going to sneak the Holmenkollen 50. Viljanin 91% of maximum at 176. That's quite a heart rate considering he's still got another 5Ks to go.
Hey, that's working in the danger zone. You can't hold that for too long, but you know from Viljanin it's going to go higher because the sprint bonus sections are coming up soon.
And looks as though Jonsson wants some bonus seconds. 4th in the tour at the start of today. If he can get 15 seconds, it could well put him ahead of Krok of Norway. But then if he gets the bonus seconds, he's going to have to hang on for the last lap. And I don't think that's possible after what we saw in the women's race, Mike. To go for broke on the penultimate lap really puts you in a bad situation for the last lap.
It's expensive, isn't it? And look at Jonsson. He's reaching out further. His glide is long and he's breaking the rest of the field slightly. Where's Colonia? There he is.
Sundby looks effortless in second place.
He looks so good, doesn't he? I mean, he is an amazingly good in both skating now and in classic. There he is, 17. And when he said last Saturday in the 50 that with 2 kilometers to go, he was getting cramps from his fingers to his toes, and he didn't think he was actually going to finish in the top 15, but he got second.
Well, there you can see the positions at the moment. 8.8 seconds behind for Legkov. Northug making sure that he doesn't lose touch with the leading group. The distinguished figure of Tor Are Herdalen, wearing 38, is now some way off the pace. Number 40 going through. Lukas Bauer, former overall World Cup winner, a shadow of his former self at the moment. 31 seconds down. It would be lovely to see Lukas get back to the form that he showed back in 2008.
I think it's still there for him. He's had, of course, he's had these Achilles heel tendon hassles for a long time. He's been getting lots of work to try and put that right with acupuncture as well.
Polteranen looks to have blown a gasket down in 29. He won't challenge today, I don't think. Over 38, 40 seconds behind, and the margin just too great with the speed that is now being set at the front of the field. And it's Emil Jonsson, a surprise leader. I still don't think he's going to be able to hang on, but I'd love to see him come into the final straight in a position to sprint with Petter Northug, who's 6 back now. Northug, who was some 30 seconds adrift on the second lap, is now starting to make sure, and I think maybe, Mike, he wants to keep an eye on Colonia and make sure that the Swiss skid doesn't get too many bonus seconds this time round.
He's done just that, Patrick, and he's just actually moved ahead of Colonia, which Colonia looks like he's beginning to be a spent force.
Yes, Sundby is going for points this time round, so is Emil Jonsson is there.
And Viljanin in 3rd place at the moment. And that must be Rickardson alongside.
I think that is Rickardson in the white, the taller figure on the right-hand side, who's left himself with a little bit of work to do going around the outside. Number 15, Eldar Roning, not really interested in the sprint points, but he's going to find himself in a good position when Sundby slows, which he must do when he gets to the top. Sundby started 17th in the mini tour today, and that will certainly put him ahead of Colonia and Roning for now.
Look at Northug, he's covered everything. He's 6th place again. There's Colonia going through now, so yeah, fading a little.
Well, Colonia may be saying, Northug's not going to get any points. I don't need any second points this time, so maybe we're going to see a last lap charge from Dario Colonia. He always surprises us with what he can do.
I would love to see him put in a major charge on the last rotation of 3.3. There's Colonia coming now, looks a little unstable.
Everyone looking a little unstable, and if these guys are looking unstable, you know that it is very, very tricky indeed. Good speed, nicely taken by Paul Goldberg of Norway, number 9. 18, that's Ilya Shunasov of Russia. There are the BMW X-Drive trophy points that have been awarded. Petter Northug picks up another 5 just to make sure that the Keys can have his initials on it this time round. And that's a tournament that's been running all the way through the season, Mike. I'm not sure what second prize is.
I was just thinking, what are the models of car of BMWs? But they're not. There is only the victory. But you know, you could take it down in stages to the little, the smallest of the BMWs on the market. But no, it's one 4x4 for the winners, and Kowalczyk secured it in the women's. And of course, Northug in the men's.
Well, Jonsson's still surviving, and the Swedish spectators really enjoying this. A lot of people have come across from Norway actually, and they'll be staying for the whole weekend. They will not be going home until they see Petter Northug, they hope, crowned as the 2013 champion. And what a season it's been, with the World Championships down in Val di Fiemme, brutally hard tracks down there, and then of course the pre-Olympic races in Sochi, which give us some sort of an idea as to who's going to be picking up the gold this time next year.
Well, Northug, he walked away from the World Championships with 2 gold and 1 silver, but he was caught tactically a little bit by surprise to finish 4th in the skiathlon, and I think that was a huge surprise for Northug, and he woke up after that, and from that moment on he then got himself back to his normal great self, and didn't let any tactical errors happen again.
Yeah, and what a contrast to last year. Petter Northug didn't race here in Falun. He was focusing on the Vasaloppet, but then he had a stomach bug that put him out of action. There are the big 4 at the front: Jonsson, Sundby, Villingshanen, Rickardson, Roning and Northug in 5 and 6 and 7 at the moment. Schanker down in 10, and Legkov in 11th position, and still there ready to challenge Petter Northug. So the last lap, and just under 3.2 kilometers to go. We could see someone trying to get clear, and at the moment it's 28, which is Danny Rickardson, who's been sitting in 3rd or 4th place, ready to go. Now at last Emil Jonsson is starting to fade. He's worked so hard to stay at the front, but I think that sprint for the bonus points has cost him dear.
The payback over that pain is terrible. Isn't that strange? When Rickardson moved past Jonsson just collapsed mentally. He's let it go so quickly.
Yeah, I'm not sure the skis are working quite as well this time around for Jonsson, but the skis don't work as well when you can't apply as much pressure, and you can't apply the pressure quite as sharply as when you're fresh.
It's dynamic, isn't it? And look at Rickardson. Rickardson again, for me, up along with Polterainen, when it comes to the classic technique, his movements are easy. He's such a tall figure, he reaches up into the hill. The compression of the ski is perfect timing.
Yeah, should explain that the grip wax that they use on the base of the ski is only, what, 18 inches long under the foot, and the bow, the natural bow of the ski, very strong, so you have to press the ski down onto the snow to get the grip wax to work. If you haven't got the strength or the will to do that, the ski will not work and you won't go anywhere.
And talking about not going anywhere, Cologne is beginning to struggle. He did say he's going to try and enjoy the races. He can only do what he can do. He realizes that it was a tough task today to try and get back into this final mini tour and take the overall world title.
And do you think that's why Nautica's